All right, good afternoon. My name is George Houle and I am with ARI. I work with dealerships in Canada with our PartSmart and Accessory Smart program, as well as our e-catalog portfolio of products. This webinar today will be a walkthrough of PartSmart with regards to the Honda catalog that we've since released. We're going to walk through the slideshow here. We're going to go through the agenda. So we're going to go through some introductions real quick, go through the demo of PartSmart itself, and then we'll take on questions and answers at the end. So as mentioned, my name is George. I've been here at ARI now for 10 years. I am a power sports enthusiast. I've been on a snowmobile for over 30 plus years of my life, avid dirt bike rider, and pretty much enjoy anything with an engine that goes fast and makes noise. Prior to me coming on board here at ARI, I was a parts department manager for a multi-store location, actually selling Honda at 2 of the 3 locations. I did that job for 5 years until I came on board here. Brief history of ARI. We've been in business as a company for 20 plus years, providing parts schematics for dealers. That's how we started. We originated in the outdoor power equipment industry. We have since gone on to serve many different types of dealers in every country and across the globe. We work with over 23,000 different equipment dealers of all sorts, shapes, and varieties. We work with over 200 distributors and roughly 3,300 different brands worldwide, utilizing our e-catalog products. We also span 17 million active SKU numbers and 750,000 different types of equipment models. So considerable amount of data. I'm now going to jump into PartSmart. So as you can see on the home page here, PartSmart is a web-based program that will allow you to look up parts quickly and efficiently. Once you sign into PartSmart, the main hub of PartSmart is driven by 3 main things. The recent models tab, which is located here, as well as recent parts. There's also a built-in expansive search bar, which is an elastic style search. I'll cover that towards the end. Within PartSmart, you can narrow down and filter and showcase through the product line tab. Once you're on the product line, you can now go into power sports, for example. You can now pull up a model. You can filter down to the year. And as you can see here, now we've got a whole list of GL 1800s, for example, as well as other bikes. If I click on this Goldwing, for example, here are going to be all of the schematics for that unit in one screenshot. I can scroll through and find the image of the part that I'm looking for. So for example, if I go into the Clutch Master Cylinder thumbnail, I now have all of those part numbers at my disposal simply by clicking on the item number in reference to the part I need. So if I click number 17, for example, it'll now pull up the lever, as well as any supersessions associated to that. You'll have a history of prior part numbers. So if you have an item that's been superseded, say maybe 7, 10 times or more, you'll see a complete revision history of every single supersession in one single lookup. I can add that part to the pick list. And then if I need other parts, I can just click on diagrams, scroll back through, find other parts that I might need. So for this particular example, I'll scroll down to the front fender area. I can select that part. And the big advantage that we've developed with Honda specifically is within a year, make, and model, color codes are now associated to that type of part, as well as the color code on the table, and also the VIN of that unit. Extremely handy when you're trying to look up type 1, type 2, type 3, etc. With PartSmart, you can go back and forth between your different schematics. So, for example, if I needed to go back to that diagram for whatever reason, I can click on it and go back to it. You can have an unlimited amount of these tabs open up here. So if you needed to go through 4 or 5, 6 different diagrams, those tabs would then be located up here for you to go back and forth through. If I want to search for a part number, let's say a spin-on oil filter, for example, I can type that particular part number in, hit search, and it'll now bring up a list of that part number that's associated to whatever catalog it's located in. If I go into that particular oil filter, for example, I can now see alphabetically every single year, make, and model, an application that it fits, as well as the diagram, and once again, the revision history of that particular item. The pick list feature that's built out within PartSmart will allow you, the dealer, to add and remove items from a pick list and or save them for a customer. So if you have somebody who comes back or you need to cashier out that particular invoice at that time and you're done looking up those parts, you can then go in, make those changes, or with the submit button that's built out once integration's complete with the various different DMSs that are available, clicking the submit button will then move all of those items over to whatever screen you have open. Because this is web-based, you can save an unlimited amount of pick lists. So if you have customers who come back, repair orders that are put on hold, special orders that need to be moved out for future lookup, or even just making kitted part options, this is a great tool to do that sort of thing. And at this time, I'll open it up for any questions.
Hi, George.
Hello.
We have a couple of questions to be answered. So the first one I will highlight is, looks like from Jesse Davidson. We find a few all the time on the current e-fish, F-I-C.
Okay, sure, pricing error. So we receive price files from Honda. They are then published and pushed into PartSmart. There have been times where files are not updated. Most of the time we do find that file error issues at times will come from DMS providers and or price books. It's hard to keep everything synced at all times like that. But if you do find them, there is a report defect button within PartSmart where you can report that error, which then gives us the ability to go in and capture a screenshot of that and then work with our tech team, which will then work directly with Honda on resolving that price file error issue.
All right. The next one I have is it integratable with Black Pearl?
So we are working currently with Black Pearl for integration. Those conversations stemmed from AIM Expo. We're working with them on the regular to develop the back end for integration. So yes, in the very near future, we will have integration locked in with that DMS. So you can move things back and forth. Yep.
All right.
I don't have an ETA, but I do know we're working on it. It is on the roadmap.
All right. It looks like Kevin said that we have them muted, which I can unmute all now. So right now you guys have full audio control to ask questions.
All right, so my name's Kevin. I'm calling from Mountain View Motorsports in Chilliwack. I got about 6 questions, and I guess the biggest one is, we have Dealer Spike. Is this tool embeddable? And if so, can we actually embed it where customers can log on, make e-com sales?
Great question. So with our data sets and our products, the one that you're specifically asking about, Kevin, would be geared towards a platform we have called PartStream, which is a chunk of code that is designed for e-commerce that we can embed into a Dealer Spike site or any other brand or type of website that's out there to capture e-commerce sales and make that available. The Honda data sets are available for the PartStream program and platform. So it's available for PartSmart, which is an internal tool. PartStream, which is e-commerce, think of that as streaming to the web. And then another one that we have, which is more geared towards distributors and OEMs, called DataSmart, which is an open API, which is raw data.
Okay, so I guess this meeting was more around PartSmart and then the parts staff using it at the parts counter versus us integrating it onto the website and doing e-com and figuring out the drop shipping and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, this webinar was geared towards that, but you bring up a very good point because the data sets are very similar in how they function, actually. So it was a very good question, actually.
Okay. Maybe what I'll do is I'll get your info and then just talk to you offline and see what kind of solutions we have available for e-com.
Sure. I'd be more than happy to have those conversations. That'd be great. Yep, absolutely. Not a problem.
Cool. Okay, thanks.
Yep. Any pricing questions? I'm shocked I haven't gotten that one yet. So PartSmart is $34 a month for the subscription. And then the Honda Power Sports catalog is $25 per month. And then we have another one for the outdoor power equipment industry, also $25 a month. And then we have a marine specific one, which is embedded into the outdoor power equipment catalog. So if you're already a current PartSmart subscriber, you can add the Honda catalog for $25 a month. That's US dollars.
George, we have a couple more questions.
Okay.
Chantel said each brand is extra per month, correct?
Yep, that is correct. So depending on the OEM catalog and whether or not it's available in Canada, they can be purchased separately. So if you were an Articat, KTM, and Honda dealer, for example, you could purchase those other catalogs from us as well.
All right. The next question is Jesse Davidson, and it's how about OE Honda accessories?
So genuine Honda accessories will be getting moved and put into the Accessory Smart platform. So PartSmart is strictly OEM based, Accessory Smart is strictly aftermarket and OEM accessory based, which is a web-based platform which will allow a dealer to go in, look up year, make, and model, see all of the genuine OEM accessories that fit that model, and then retrieve the part number for it, other fitment notes, additional information, and things like that. That is an in-store solution, we call that as well, or behind-the-counter tool.
Hey, George, it's Tom from Honda Canada. Just to add to that, I'm working with Ronnie and Jamie to add the accessories and oils and chemicals for a later date. So when that's ready, we'll have an announcement for the dealers.
Yep, perfect. Yeah, I talk to Ronnie and Jamie all the time, and I know it's on their roadmap as well. So thank you for clarifying that.
Yep.
All right. It doesn't look like we have any other questions. Jesse did say thanks, Tom.
Okay. Perfect.
I think one thing we can add is that before we started this, I think there were about 100 dealers in Canada using PartStream. You're using the American Honda data. So if you are already paying for PartStream, may I suggest, if you want, to flip it over to having the Canadian data. So that'll be Canadian parts, Canadian models, and pricing as well.
Yep. Thank you. And then if you need to get in direct contact with us, there's the sales phone number and the sales email.
And if you'd like to reach out to George specifically with your questions, I've included his email address in the chat.
Thank you. All right, well, there's no more questions. I believe we can wrap up. Is that all right, Shelby?
Yeah, I think we're good. Thanks for joining us today.
Yep. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Oh, I did just have one more question, if possible.
Sure.
Does it show up like when you look up a Honda part? Does it show anywhere in PartSmart the warehouse availability?
It does not. We do not have live we do not have a live inventory feed from Honda on that.
But we'd still have to go into eBiz to check availability.
Yeah, to check warehouse quantity availability, yes. With the integration, if you're running a DMS that we integrate with, then your on-hand inventory will show up,
Right.
which will show bin location, dealer cost, checked in price, any sort of promotion you do to that particular part within those price files within your DMS.
Yeah. So you're really gaining one advantage but losing another one, because with the current parts fiche on eBiz, you can check availability, but you can't migrate that to Lightspeed or to a DMS, which would be a huge advantage to have both, of course.
Sure. So the big advantage with PartSmart is, the functionality of it and how quickly you can look up a part, but specifically within an image as well, you can see your on-hand quantities by clicking a hotspot button to see green, yellow, or red. You're getting the super sessions in one single lookup, as well as hierarchy, recent models, things like that. So, it does, I can see the point, because like I said, I was a former parts manager, so I totally get where you're coming from on that. But on the back end, with saving time with what you gain with the other features,
I'd say 70 to 80% of the parts you look up in the course of a day, you have to check the warehouse to see if they have them.
Sure.
Like that's just part of that's a big part of looking up Honda parts. Huge part, actually. But
sure.
If it's not there, it's not there, I suppose.
That's a functionality that we'd like to add, hopefully in the future, and we would have to possibly get permission from DMS providers or dealerships to collect the data, because I'd also like to make like a parts finder. If Honda doesn't have it in stock, maybe a dealership somewhere else in the country has it. That would kind of be something where we would like to do going forward in the future at some point.
CDK has that functionality now. Lightspeed, you can check, if you subscribe, you can check, other dealers, and we use that constantly. Like with Honda, you're always looking up old parts from the 70s and 80s and finding discontinued items that other dealers have sitting in their inventories, collecting dust is a huge advantage.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it would be handy to move some of that old stock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an argument to be made for that functionality. I mean, I most certainly see the value in that. I used NXT and Evo at the dealership I came from. That parts locator feature is very unique, and it is a very, very helpful tool when you're trying to find something obsolete or just trying to see if there's something out there, available. And, I used it and was successful with it many times. And then other times I was not successful with it after spending 30 minutes on the phone with the dealer because, they hadn't updated their price files in 8 years or done a physical inventory in 10. So it's a give and take, right?
For sure. Okay, great. Thanks.
Yeah, anytime. All right. Well, I thank everybody for taking time out of your day to come to this webinar. And if anything comes up and you need or have more questions, please reach out to us here. And we'd be more than happy to jump on a call or a screen share and go through some things and talk more about PartSmart and how it can help you at your dealership. Thank you.